Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. Yeah, okay, that's all we can find. Interesting. Okay, as you can see, I've launched the game on Steam. Downloaded it on Steam, having previously downloaded it off of the Windows Store. It appears to have cut down a bit on lag in the actual game when we're playing a match, but we'll just have to wait for some long-term results from that to see if indeed it does cut down a bit on lag in the game. But right now we're in the garage, so it doesn't really matter too much. And we're going to be taking a look at this thing, which is a Tier 2 Russian premium light tank, which is a Tetrarch. And those of you who know a bit about history will say, hang on a minute, Tetrarch's a British tank. And indeed it is a British tank. It was a little British light tank which was designed to land by glider to provide Royal Commandos with some armoured support in hostile territory. However, like a lot of things, Tetrarchs were exported to Russia as part of the lend-lease program. Lend-lease being the same as the Sherman being lend-lease, the M3 Lee being a lend-lease from America, M3 Scout cars and M3 M5 half-tracks. Those were also lend-leased to Russia. You've got Churchills, for example. We got this, Churchill 3. This was Churchills were exported to Russia as part of lend-lease, all because Russia just did not understand how to create tanks, and they weren't able to stop the German Blitzkrieg. But yeah, that's the basis of the Tetrarch. As it is in game, and as you can see, because it was exported to Russia, they decided, you know what, let's make it a Tier 2 premium tank. It's not in the British tech tree anywhere. It is indeed only in the Russian tech tree, but it's a good little tank anyway. So, starting off here, 7% protection, 13% firepower, 57% shot effectiveness, and 79% maneuverability, which is very good. So starting off with 270 HP, which is a fair amount of HP. This thing's got more, 315. This thing's got 265. This thing's got 290. The Hard Go has got like 320 or something with the upgraded turret. This thing has got 300, so it is in the lower end of the hit points, which is not great, honestly. But then again, it's also in line with the World of Tanks PC version of the Tetrarch, because the Tetrarch in PC is also a very fragile tank in terms of HP. So even though they did buff all of the Tier 1 to 3 hit points in Blitz a little bit ago now, it's still still comparative with how it was, which is in the low end of the Tier 2 hit point pool. Plus, oh god, that's not good. Plus, it hasn't got any armor really to its name. Yeah, it is light on armor. 16 millimeters at the front of the hull, 10 at the side, 14 at the side, 10 at the rear. Turret armor again, 16, 14, 10. So 16 mil of armor is the best you're going to get. This part is sloped. The front of the turret's a bit of a weird thing, but either way, you're not going to stop any shots, really. Other than maybe lucky ricochets from machine guns. That's all you're really going to stop with this armor. It really is a fragile tank. It really is a light tank. It's similar to the Hargo, because the Hargo is also light on armor, as it were, being 12. 12 all around with the stock turret, which is the configuration I've got it. So yeah, it's not got a lot of armor to its name, and that's because, as is similar to other light tanks, armor is not your primary objective in this tank. For example, the D1 or the 38H, to a lesser extent the Panzer II, have also got armor as their main, well, armor. The Tetrarch does not have armor to its name. Indeed, it's not all about the armor. It's about this, the maneuverability. Because it only weighs 7.25 tons, but it's got a 180 horsepower engine, goes at 64 kilometers per hour, has a 49 degrees per second traverse speed and a 42.9 degrees per second turret traverse, which means this thing's primary defense is speed and maneuverability. Those are your main useful parts of the tank. Armor is irrelevant if you've got speed and maneuverability, which this thing does, and that's what's going to keep you alive. You use the old peek-a-boom tactic. You run circles around people. You hide in bushes because this thing's got a decent enough camo rating. I mean, it is pretty small. Look, there's the Panzer II. There's the Tetrarch. Yeah, that's, you know, it's a fair amount of being small. It's the same. It's a similar size to the Universal Carrier, and that's a pretty sneaky tank destroyer. So your primary things are, you know, camo and speed. That is your primary defense against the big nasty tanks that are going to be shooting at you. As for everything else, 20% chance of fire and impact for the engine. 231 meters view range, which is, it's alright. It's only tier 2 after all. Can have a load limit of 7.9 tons. Considering that you're already at 7.25, that's not a lot to play around with. No provisions have been loaded. This is stock configuration pretty much, and it already weighs 7.25 tons with a 7.9 ton load limit. You don't have a lot to play around with. However, the main point of the Tetrarch is the gun. And the gun is amazing. This is a tank destroyer gun, really. If you look at it, here's the 2-pounder on the Universal Carrier 2-pounder, which is an quick fire. It's a quick fire 2-pounder anti-tank gun, Mark 9. Yes, Mark 9 gun. The gun on the Tetrarch is a quick fire 2-pounder Mark 9A. And first up, from that glance that we take a look at in the Universal Carrier, you will notice it's also got 64 millimeters of penetration with the standard armor piercing, which means that you will be able to get through anything at tier 2 and 3 with relative ease. French tanks are not scary to you in this, and French tanks have got the most armor out of anything. At tier 3, the most armor you're going to come up against is the Su-76I, I think, and that's got 60. And you've got 64 with armor piercing. You will have pretty much no reason to use APCR at all with this gun. That is supreme penetration. So it's got fantastic penetration, 1-to-1 with APCR, which is, that's a lot. 12 with high explosive, 45 average damage with AP, 38 with the premium ammo nerf of APCR, 60 with high explosive, slightly better, but still 12 millimeters of pen with high explosive. Yeah, it's terrible. Even the Tetrarch's armor will stop 12 millimeters of high explosive pen. So yeah. 0.34 dispersion, which is pretty good. 5.6 second aim time, a little bit on the slow side, but you know, it's not that bad. It's at least not 1-2 Russian levels of bad accuracy. And that's pretty much it. So to summarize, then, no armor really. It's got great speed and maneuverability. It's a really mobile tank, and it's got a fantastic 2-pounder gun on it. One of the best tier 2 guns, honestly. One of the better tier 3 guns, actually. Although tier 3's got some nice guns on it. For example, the Su-76I, the cruiser. Those have all got nice guns on them. So yeah, it's got a really nice gun on it. As for ammunition, you do carry a rather limited amount of rounds, honestly. 50 rounds is a lot, but with a 15 rate of fire rounds per minute, those 50 shells will start running out pretty quickly if you're getting this thing machine gunning out into people. So you've got to be a little bit careful of your ammunition there. But with the fantastic penetration of this gun, you do not really need to carry around any ammunition other than armor piercing, in my opinion. The 40mm armor piercing Mark 1T rounds are all you really need to carry. You don't need to carry around any armor piercing composite rigid, armor piercing composite something rigid Mark 1 rounds. I don't know what the N could stand for in there. But as for provisions, you've got your standard fuel plus 3% engine power turret reverse. You've got condensed milk because it's a Russian vehicle. Well, it's an English vehicle, but in the Russian tech tree, so it gets condensed milk because it's premium. But that's 3% to crew mastery. Then you've got protective kit, 15% to protection of crew from injuries, 10% speed and modular repair, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo and fuel tank durability. So you can go ahead and bung some of them on if you want. As for consumables, repair first aid fire extinguisher, yeah, we all know about them. You've got adrenaline, engine power boost, 20% to engine power for 15 seconds. You've got adrenaline, aka tornado energy for right now, which is 20% to load speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules for 15 seconds. And then you've got the multi-purpose, which is these 3 items rolled into one. So if you get multiple modules and crew knocked out, you can go ahead and burn one of them. But if not, carry around your standard repair first aid fire. So, and that's what I do, so why not? As for equipment loadout, well, Blitz changed all the equipment, which no one's really happy about, but if you're going to mount equipment on this thing, then I would say gun rammer. You don't need calibrated shells on this. 67 pen, 64 is fantastic, so you don't need even more than that, because otherwise it's just overkill and a waste. So go for the gun rammer. Protected modules, because who the hell actually uses enhanced cabin? So protected modules. Then you can go for either coated optics or camonet. It's really up to you. As for these things, you could go with an enhanced gun lane drive if you wanted. I suppose the aim time is a bit slow. Then again, let's compare it to, say, the Panzer II. 3.9 second aim time. I suppose that's decent for an autocannon. M2HB, that's got 3.8. There you go. This thing has got 4.6 second aim time. Okay, actually, you might want. Actually, you might want that aiming, the enhanced gun lane drive. Yeah, okay. In which case, screw that. Definitely go enhanced gun lane drive. Then you'll want to go improved assembly, because 5% better 16% 16mm is still useless. So improved assembly for the increased HP. Then I would say engine accelerator, because you've got very good traverse speed anyway. So I would say get up to that top speed quicker. It, as a side effect, increases the traverse speed anyway, not as drastically as improved control, but the engine power goes up, so you get more acceleration, which is really what you want in this thing, rather than traverse speed. So, I mean, 50 is still very good. 53 is like overkill. So, engine accelerator. Then you could either go vertical stabilizer or refined gun. Judging by the playstyle of this thing, I would say vertical stabilizers for peek-a-boom tactics more effectively, plus, decreased aim time, it's even better. Then you can either go enhanced tracks or toolbox, it's up to you, and then your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So, as for crew, you can't really say much. Blitz crews work very differently. Oh, I'm so close to get penetration boost level 3. But yeah, so as for any of these, as for the tank, I got confused there, I'm tired. As for the tank, it's a very good tank. You can't actually buy it anymore. It was once in the tech tree, which is why I got it, because I was wanting it on PC, and Blitz, I happened to get it on first, and then I got it on PC, but I got it on Blitz anyway. And then they removed it from being sold, so you can't get it anymore. which means that you could probably, I could actually probably do that. But yeah, so it's no longer being sold in the tech tree, so it's a pretty rare thing for you to actually get your hands on. I haven't seen it being on sale since it was pulled from the store. But if you do happen to have it, congratulations, you've got one of the best tier 2 tanks. Yeah, your best tactics for these is either to camp in bush and be a bush camper, or peek-a-boom. Drive up behind a rock and peek-a-boom out, where you drive out from cover of the rock, snap off a shot, preferably with a good aim time, such as vertical stabilizers, and then pull back in whilst you're reloading, and then pop out, boom, poke back in again before they fire, or they fire and they miss, and then you pop out and shoot them again. Which is an effective tactic in something like this, because armor will not save you. It's got crap for armor, but it's got one of the best guns in tier 2. And that's it. So yeah, the Tetrarch. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.